Hello and welcome to another exciting video from War Secrets. In today's video, we will tell you about the ultimate badass tank known as the Churchill Crocodile. So without further ado, let's begin. Experiments with installing flamethrowers to British vehicles began early in the war, leading to vehicles like the Cockatrice, Basilisk, and Wasp. On the Dieppe raid, the Churchill Oak, a flamethrower-equipped Churchill Mark II built by a Royal Tank Regiment officer, was put to the test. The Petroleum Warfare Department, AEC, and the Ministry of Supply all worked on Valentine tanks at the same time. The Churchill, which was the infantry tank's successor to the Valentine, was chosen as the basis for continued development by the Department of Tank Design. The General Staff concluded that a flamethrower modeled after the Churchill and designed by the Petroleum Warfare Department was the ideal choice. They decided that the tank's primary armament was to be kept. The fuel had to be in a jettisonable trailer and have a minimum of a minute of flame with an effective range of 80 yards. In July 1942, 12 pilot models were ordered. In August 1942, the War Office reversed this decision, believing that tanks were too vulnerable at close range and that the flamethrowers should be man-pack or carrier kinds. The PWD continued to work on a trailer and equipment, including fuel efficiency improvements. Major General Percy Hobart exerted pressure on the Ministry of Supply to draft a development plan after seeing the Crocodile shown in 1943. The flamethrowers were added to the 79th Division's plan by the Chief of the General Staff. Major Alec Richardson, a Royal Armoured Corps advisor to the General Staff, was shown the prototype in January 1943, and it was again exhibited for the War Office in March. In August 1943, the project received approval for 250 units. To get the units manufactured in time for the anticipated invasion of France in 1944, orders had to be placed before troop trials with prototypes. By October, the prototypes were being built, and it was decided to change the design of the equipment so that it could be used on both the new Mark VII Churchill and the Mark IV, for which it was originally planned. The requirement that it suit the Mark IV was later removed. In January 1944, the first prototypes of the Mark VII were given to troops, followed by production vehicles in April. The order was raised to 750 pieces and then extended by 200 more for usage in India and Southeast Asia. The flamethrower equipment was designed as a kit that Remy workshops could install in the field, converting any available Churchill Mark VII. However, in practice, field conversion was rarely done, if at all, because it made more sense to assign the flame tanks to designated units with specially trained operators. The trailer, an armored pipe attached along the tank's underside, and the projector, which replaced the hull-mounted Baser machine gun, were all included in the conversion package. The Crocodile's turret-mounted ordnance QF75mm gun was preserved, so it could still be used as a tank. The kit could also be used on the Churchill Mark VIII, which was similar to the Mark VII but had a 95mm howitzer instead of a 75mm cannon, and was converted to Crocodiles in very few number of cases. 250 of the 800 kits built were retained in reserve for prospective anti-Japanese activities. The rest was enough to equip 3 tank regiments, as well as provide training and replacements for battlefield fatalities. The Crocodile's 6.5-ton armored trailer held 400 imperial gallons or 1,800 of gasoline and 5 compressed gas propellant cylinders. 81-second bursts were possible with this amount. Filling the trailer was a time-consuming task that was normally accomplished using conventional 45-gallon drums. To make the job easier, scaffolding poles were used to build a raised platform that allowed the drums to be rolled out of the truck and placed over the trailer, allowing the fuel to be poured directly in. The fuel was a flammable mixture known as FRAS. Due to its lower viscosity and pseudoplasticity, British gasoline was widely utilized by American soldiers in Europe, and some units preferred it to napalm. A 3-way armored coupling connected the trailer to the tank, and it could be ejected from within the tank if necessary. The trailer's armor might withstand small arms fire, but stronger weapons would pierce it. Crocodile personnel used their tank to protect the trailer from enemy fire as much as possible during the battle. Crocodile units were equipped with AEC Matador lorries to haul the trailers over extended distances. Tank transporters were used to transport the tanks themselves. The thrower's range was up to 120 yards. However, some accounts say 150 yards. However, the average range was roughly 80 yards, 73 meters. The projector employed a tiny spray of petrol from the crocodile's main fuel tank to light the flame, which was ignited by a spark plug, which then ignited the main fuel jet. Long or brief bursts of blazing fuel could be sprayed towards the target by the operator. The target could alternatively be sprayed with fuel before igniting with a short, lighted blast. There was enough fuel for 80 single-second bursts or a continuous burn of the same duration. If the trailer was hit, it could be detonated, or it could be detonated once it was empty to provide the tank more mobility. The trailers were equipped with tow bars so they could be recovered by unit transport after the fight. Refueling took at least 90 minutes, and pressurization took around 15 minutes. The appropriate pressure had to be primed on the trailer by the crew as near to use as possible, because pressure could not be sustained for long. The fuel was expected to flow at a rate of 4 imperial gallons per second or 18 liters per second. The fuel was water-based and could be used to set fire to trees and buildings. The Crocodile was a specialized weapon with a flamethrower that was effective but only had a small range. The Crocodile was an effective assault weapon deployed by the 79th Armored Division in conjunction with the Churchill AVRE and other funnies. It was so powerful against bunkers that many surrendered after the initial few rounds. The flame projector was such a fearsome psychological weapon among the Germans that arrested Crocodile crews were frequently shot without trial. The British deemed some aspects of the process to be so secret that if disabled units could not be retrieved, they were quickly destroyed by whatever means possible, including airstrike if required. In the Normandy blockage, at the Battle of Brest, and during Operation Clipper, the Anglo-American assault on Geilenkirchen, British Crocodiles aided the US Army. C Squadron also assisted in the assault on S. Hertogenbosch by the 53rd Welsh Division in October 1944. The Crocodile system was suggested to be developed for use by the US forces with the M4 Sherman tank. The flame projector could not be used in place of the Hull machine gun as it had been on the Churchill, so the equipment had to be modified. The projector was instead installed on a platform to the right of the hull gunner, protected by an armored casing, while the fuel line ran alongside the hull, protected by an armored cover. Prior to D-Ray, the British agreed to provide 100 conversion kits to the Americans, and a prototype Sherman Crocodile was built, with 6 production models on the way. However, American interest in the system dwindled, and they instead adopted an American-developed flame variant of the Sherman. This fared poorly in combat, reigniting American interest in the Crocodile. The US 739th Tank Battalion received 4 Sherman Crocodiles. They were only deployed once, during Operation Grenade, against Jülich's well-guarded 13th century fortress. The tanks were able to compel the German defenders to surrender the fortress after extensive use of their flame projectors and main guns. A Crocodile trailer and a Comet tank were used in post-war towing trials over an obstacle course. However, the trailer coupling failed and the job was abandoned. The Muckleburgh Collection in Norfolk, Cobberton Combat Collection in Devon, Eden Camp Museum in North Yorkshire, the D-Day Museum in Portsmouth, the Wheatcroft Collection, the Kubinka Tank Museum in Russia, and the Military Museums in Calgary, Alberta, are among the owners of Mark 7 crocodiles. The Royal Australian Armoured Corps Museum has a Mark 8. In the United Kingdom, 2 are privately owned, out of which 1 is in running order. There is also 1 under private ownership in the United States. Another is on display at the American Heritage Museum in the United States. The Bayeux Museum of the Battle of Normandy has 1 version without a trailer on exhibit. The Bovington Tank Museum has another model with a trailer. Another, complete with trailer, is on display at the Fort Montbarry Parade Ground in Brest, Brittany, where Queen Elizabeth II presented it as a memorial. That's all for today. We hope you have liked the video. If so, then do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, press the bell icon for upcoming amazing content.